as soon as I sit down and turn the camera on, the camera battery starts flashing red at me. That was my own fault because I filmed a video yesterday and I forgot to put the battery on charge after. I do have a spare battery, but that one was also dead. So let's just hope that I get enough time to film me putting it on my face. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing Nars' new foundation. Well, this is going to be like a review, testing, wear test, first impressions, all kind of in one video. This is the first time that I'm trying this foundation and I have seen so many people say good things about this. However, every single review that I've seen of this foundation so far has been sponsored. I've seen a lot of Instagram ads with it, and I'm not saying that the people that do the ads with it are not being honest, but I wanted to do a unsponsored review slash testing video, so that's what I'm going to do today. It is called the Soft Matte Complete Foundation, and I'm also going to be testing the Soft Matte Complete Concealer as well, which I think is was already a thing. Oh yeah, it says here, double up on natural looking matte coverage with new Soft Matte Complete Foundation and available in 34 shades, and best selling Soft Matte Complete Concealer, now available in 30 shades, high coverage, low maintenance, all attitudes. So I think you can get this from Boots in the UK. Also, everyone in England at the moment, please let me know how you're doing. I know that we're in a second lockdown right now and I would love to know how you're all doing. I hope you're okay. Right, I guess we'll just jump into it. Let's put something on my face because my skin is not very happy at the moment. So Boots have actually currently got a sale on. I'm not sure how long the sale is going to last for, but looking on their website right now, the foundation is currently £23.80. It's usually £28, which I'm sure is a little bit cheaper than Nars' other foundations. The shade range looks pretty good. And then the concealer is currently £20.40, but its usual price is £24, which I think is quite like a lot for a concealer, considering the foundation is £28. I don't know, I thought the concealer would maybe be like £18, but then it is Nars. £24 is a lot for a concealer, and obviously £28 is a lot for a foundation. However, something I will say is I did used to bash Nars quite a lot because I was like, I don't get why their products are so expensive. They can't be that good. And then I tried this little guy right here, the Nars Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. This is probably my favorite foundation of all time, and I can see why everybody loves Nars foundations. It's just really good. Like, it ticks every single box. But we're not here to talk about this one. So I'm just starting off with a little bit of the KVD Lock-It Primer, just because this primer does not let me down. There are some primers that I love, but with different foundations they don't like work very well. But this one is usually pretty decent for every foundation that I use. So my skin at the moment is not great. I've got quite a lot of spots around my jaw, around my chin, around my mouth. I did originally think it was from masks. However, I've barely left my house in the past week and my skin is still breaking out. So like, I haven't been wearing masks, but my skin is still coming up with new spots every single day. I think it might be to do with my pill. I don't really know. So here is a bit more of a closer up shot of my skin before we start. So this is me with no makeup on. I've got a couple spots and scars just in this area here. There's one sort of like active spot, and then these are just scars. Another, is that a scar or a mole? I don't even know at this point. And then obviously like along this part of my jaw, I've got quite a few spots and scars. And then I've got a couple just chilling on my forehead. Like, I don't know what is wrong with my skin at the moment. However, the rest of it is pretty good. Like, I know that my skin is majority good, but I've got a few spots kind of around here. So I actually usually wear the shade 4.5 Vienna in Nars' Radiant Longwear Foundation. This is my shade for when I've got fake tan on, which I do now. I'm wearing the Loving Tan at the moment, but I kind of switch it up. But my shade for when I'm my regular natural skin color is L2, which is Mont Blanc. I was actually very kindly sent this in PR from Nars, which was so nice of them. Thank you, Nars. I appreciate you. But the shades that they have sent me are, I think they might be a little bit dark, but we'll give them a go. I've got Sahel, which is medium 2.5. I've got medium 1, which is Punjab, and then I've got medium 1.5, which is Valoris. I'm guessing the lightest one out of these is going to be the medium 1. Medium 2.5 is definitely too dark. Valoris medium 1.5 looks a little bit pink, so I'm going to go for medium 1. And then in the concealer, I've got medium 1.5 macadamia, I've got medium 1.25 toffee, and I've got medium 1, which is custard. I'm going to go with custard because I know that this is the lightest out of all of them, I believe. I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, toffee's definitely too dark. Okay, so I've just swatched Punjab, which is this one here, then Vienna, which is my usual shade, that's this one here, which does look quite a lot lighter actually. This one here is Valoris, which I thought looked a little bit more pink, and this one is Sahel, which is a little bit too dark, and then I've swatched the Custard Concealer here. Custard is actually quite dark, so it says to shake well before use. Let's give it a good old shake. I love the packaging. I think it looks so nice. I love how it's all matte and it is in a squeezy tube. So I'm just gonna squeeze out roughly the same, I reckon, as one pump of their other foundations. Actually, that's probably not enough. You know what? This color looks like it could work. As long as it doesn't oxidize, we might be okay. Right, I reckon this is probably about a pump and a half's worth of product. So on this side of my face, I'm gonna go in with my sponge. Ooh, okay, that's pretty good coverage. Wow, it is really matte though. It's not really reflecting on the camera at all. Okay, that's not enough product to cover this side of my face. I think I would go in with a little bit more. But let's keep going. I know it's called the matte foundation, but I'm actually quite shocked at how matte it is. Because so many matte foundations that I try aren't actually matte, but that is pretty damn matte. Oh wow, yeah, look, I had a little bit more on my forehead. That has pretty much fully covered my forehead. Wow.
Wow.
It's so matte. I love how I can just see my skin kind of transforming from this sort of shiny primer side to this. Well, it's blended pretty beautifully on the Beauty Blender side, but on this side of my face, I'm gonna go in with a brush. You know what, for this foundation, let me just do the rest of my face and then I will give you my full conclusion. But I'm pretty sure we've got more coverage with the brush because I do feel like my Beauty Blender kind of ate quite a lot of the product. I would say that colour match is pretty spot on, to be honest, in terms of matching my tan. By the way, if I keep looking over here, it's because I've got a mirror behind my camera so I can kind of check my face from a distance. But let's have a really close-up look. The weird thing is, even though my skin is oily, I tend to not go so much for fully matte foundations these days, just because I find that sometimes they look a little bit cakey, and when they start going oily, they kind of break up a little bit weirdly. But this is actually looking really nice. So far, I'm impressed. It's settled really nicely around my nose, whereas sometimes I find that with thicker, fuller coverage matte foundations, they can just go a little bit cakey looking and funny around the pores on my nose. But I do actually think this is looking really, really nice. It covered this side of my face a lot better. I feel like it did work better with the brush because I did have quite a few scars over this side. I did have this one active blemish, which you can still see a little bit, but I think I just didn't put enough product down here by my jaw because this is looking a little bit less coverage. But also as well, I think my Beauty Blender kind of sucked up quite a bit of that product. Okay, with my lights now, because I'm this close to the camera and my lights are literally right here, it is making it look more shiny, but I think it's looking really, really nice. So far so good, and you can see when I'm a little bit more further back and I'm not quite as close to my lights, this is kind of like the true finish of the foundation. It's not like matte to the point where it's like sucks the life out of my face, but I would say that's a matte foundation. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna add a little bit more coverage just down here and see if it's buildable. Because obviously I do have the concealer, which I will be testing. If with a brush I can build, oh yeah, 100%. Yep, that has definitely pretty much covered my blemishes. I mean, you can still see them a little bit. So I think it all just depends how much product you put on. If you do put on a little bit more product, then it will be full coverage like this. So I'm then just going in with the concealer. I've never actually tried this before. And like I said, I'm using the shade Custard, which is medium 1, which I do actually think might even be a bit dark. Let me try and, okay, I can't really get my finger in there because of my nails. This is the reason I kind of stay away from pot concealers, just because they are quite difficult when you have nails, because I do prefer to put my concealer on with a Beauty Blender. Let's just dab a bit on with my finger. Oh, okay. I only used a tiny bit. Let's take a tiny bit more. Throwback to when I used to use my fingers to do my concealer like every single day. Oh wow, you know what, that actually looks nice. I do tend to stay away from pot concealers, especially under my eyes, just because I think they can look a little bit cakey sometimes. This has definitely got very good coverage. I mean, look at the difference between this eye and this eye. I don't really think I need much more than that. On the other side, I'm just gonna use a brush to try and apply some and blend it out. Cover some of these veins on my eyelids. It definitely looks a lot smoother on the side where I use my finger. I think with my brush you can kind of see the brush streaks because it is like a slightly thicker concealer. It's disturbing the sort of texture around my eyes a little bit more. Let's now try going in with my sponge and kind of blending that a bit more. So I'm not the biggest fan of that concealer for under my eyes, just because it feels a little bit dry, or not necessarily feels dry, it just looks a little bit dry under my eyes, just because my eye area can get a little bit sensitive and flaky at times. So maybe this isn't really the concealer for me. I don't really think you can tell too much on camera, but yeah, it looks a little bit more cakey under my eyes than I usually like to go for. However, I will say the coverage is very good. It's really done a good job at kind of concealing my under eye circles. I'm I don't have crazy under eye circles, but I think it looks pretty good. Let's just use it on my blemishes. Okay, yeah, I don't really like these pot concealers. I just find them a bit annoying. They're just a little bit more difficult to use as somebody that prefers to blend their concealer with a beauty blender than a brush. It's got really good coverage. It's pretty much covered all my blemishes on this side. Do you remember how my face looked at the beginning? Compare that to now. Wow, yeah, the coverage of this concealer is so good. I'm now just gonna go in and set my face, because if I don't, it's not a pretty sight. If I don't set my under eyes, they crease like a bitch. I don't understand how people just don't set their under eyes. Well, I guess those people are just the blessed people in life. Oh, I forgot to tell you, by the way, time as I was putting on that foundation, I started filming this at 10:30 in the morning, obviously. Imagine if I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be sleeping in this and I'll update you in the morning. Okay, face is powdered, face is set. I've actually got a Zoom meeting now, so I'll be back after that, even though I look a little bit scary. I will be back after that and put the rest of my makeup on and show you guys close-ups, and then I'll keep checking in throughout the day. I will show you a natural light as well. Right, see you in a bit.
2 hours later.
Hi everyone, I'm back. So the time is actually now 12:28. This foundation has nearly been on for 2 hours. I ended up having 2 Zoom meetings. I had one with the brand and one with my manager, and we ended up just like talking for a long time. However, I will say, whenever I have a Zoom meeting, oh yeah, by the way, before the meeting, I put a bit of eyebrow gel on, did my lips, and added some bronzer just so that I didn't look like a ghost because they could see me. But I do find that with Zoom meetings, when I'm speaking to people that I don't know, I tend to smile the whole time, which is what I did to the point where my face started hurting. So afterwards it had like crazy like creased here, but only because I'd been smiling for like an hour straight, and it was more like the indents in my skin. So what I literally just did now is I took the excess concealer that was on this brush and I've just kind of like blended out those lines just so that it's fair, and I popped a little bit of powder literally just here. But the rest of my face I haven't done anything else to, and the foundation is still looking, I think it looks beautiful. I will show you a natural light in a sec once I've done the rest of my face. If you're wondering, my lips are Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner, and then the Tarte, I think it's called Lip Quench Lip Rescue in the shade Nude. Bronzer that I'm using is the Makeup Revolution Pro Sculpting Bronzer in the shade Bahia, which looks like this, and I've actually started to hit pan on this in this tiny little section here. Add a little bit of bronzer to my nose. Watch this space, right? I feel like by the end of the day, this spot here is only gonna get bigger. You know what, today I'm just gonna use this little Nars palette. Why not? It all kind of goes together. This is the Nars Orgasm X cheek palette, which, oh my goodness, this is stunning. I brought this with me when I went to Cornwall. This is the only kind of blush and highlighter that I brought with me for the week. And then I'm going to take a little bit of highlighter just on the very tops of my cheeks. I don't want to bring it too far down. Then the excess I'm just going to put down the centre of my nose and just on the tip of my nose. Then I'm actually going to use the Morphe mascara. Let's give this another test. I used this again yesterday actually, and I really do like it. Look at my lashes. Okay, maybe I've made them too clumpy. So this is what the foundation looks like closer up, obviously in my bright studio lights with all of the rest of my makeup done. I think the rest of my makeup applied really nicely over the top of it, and I'm just going to go show you guys in natural lighting what it looks like. So far, so good. I like it. It doesn't feel heavy. It feels a little bit heavier than the Radiant... Why do I always forget what it's called when it's literally like my favourite foundation? I always want to call it Radiance Reveal, but that's like a bourgeois concealer. Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation. This one feels a little bit more lightweight, and I would say that so far I probably prefer this one a little bit. However, we will see how this one lasts, because in terms of matte foundations, it definitely felt quite thin, quite lightweight. It definitely doesn't feel like you're wearing a thick foundation on your face, which is what I really like about it. Right, so the time is 12:42, and I will check back in with you guys throughout the day to see how it lasts. So currently this has been on for 2 hours already, and it still looks exactly the same as it did when I first put it on. I'm in a really awkward squatting position right now, but I've just switched my camera around the other way, opened my curtains and my blinds, and this is what the foundation looks like in natural lighting. I think it looks beautiful, actually. Wait, let me grab a mirror, that would help. I think it looks really nice. My skin looks really flawless. It looks kind of airbrushed. I almost think it looks better in natural light than it does on like with my filming lights. Let me just get a bit closer. Yeah, what do you guys think? I think it looks really, really beautiful, actually. It looks very smooth. And then just even closer. Yeah, I think that this spot is definitely going to come through. Blemishes around here. This is what they're looking like. And then the other side, you can see like this one here is a little bit raised, and you can see it a bit, but mostly looking pretty good. I have quite big pores on my nose and it hasn't completely got rid of them. You can still see a few pores here, but it's pretty much smoothed out my nose sort of area. Right, I'll see you guys in a few hours if there's any changes. Also, if you've tried this foundation, please let me know what you think of it down below because I'd love to know your opinion. Hello guys, so it's actually 4:34. Can you see that on my Fitbit? About 6 hours now because I put it on around like just after 10:30. And this is how it's looking in the last little bit of natural light that's left. There is the most beautiful sunset right now, which I'm actually going to turn my camera on and show you. Like, this is what I can see out my window right now. The camera's probably a little bit grainy right now because it is quite dark outside. The foundation is looking pretty good considering it's been on for 6 hours. It is definitely, you can definitely see like a little bit of oil starting to come through. The one thing that I did notice when I was looking really close up at the bright lights, like with bright lights on in the bathroom, I've noticed that the areas around my nose where I put the concealer are starting to sort of show a little bit of texture around the pores on my nose, which it wasn't doing earlier, but the rest of my face seems to be fine. Those are the only two kind of areas like around here where I've noticed that it's started to go a little bit funny, but I'm pretty sure those are the places where I put the concealer because it looks like a different texture to the rest of the makeup. So this is a little bit closer up and then I'll give you another close-up view in a minute. Oh my god, what did I say about this spot? My spots on this side of my face have stayed pretty well covered. Hopefully you can kind of see those areas around my nose that I'm talking about. Just around here and around here. Although the rest of my nose is looking pretty good. It's literally just like around the edges of it. Wow, you can really see like every bit of texture on my skin. The forehead's looking pretty good, although that spot is definitely coming through a bit more. And I really need to put some lip balm on. Oh my god, the sunset's got even more beautiful, literally just in the past like 10 minutes that I've been filming this little clip. Let me just show you what it looks like with my big, bright studio lights on. This is not a studio, but you know what I mean. My eyes, it burns. Bloody hell, these are so bright. I really should have topped up my lipstick. I was eating a donut and I didn't bother to redo it. I'm sure you guys don't mind. Under my studio lights, it still looks pretty good. I would say the main areas where it's starting to look a little bit dodgy are, yeah, around my nose, a little bit of my smile lines, and then also a little bit on my chin. I feel like it's starting to cling a little bit on my chin, just around the sort of pores, I guess, that I have down here. But it's not too bad. My forehead still looks perfectly smooth. My cheeks still look really nice and smooth. I don't think it looks overly oily. It's probably getting to the point now where I would probably touch up with a little bit of powder. Down the bridge of my nose still looks pretty good. It's literally just around the edges that are starting to go a bit weird. Yeah, here we go. This is it under my studio lights. Still looking pretty good overall, I would say. It's just these areas that are starting to get a little bit oily and a little bit sort of separated. And I can see that it is starting to kind of gather in my smile lines quite a bit here. But usually I can just kind of pat that and it's kind of fine. So this is it. After 6 hours, I will be back for the final check-in, which is probably going to be around the 8-hour sort of mark. I really need to brush my hair. Hi guys. So the time is actually now 9:17. That is not the right time. It's 7:12. So this foundation has actually nearly been on. Well, it's been on, I guess, for 8.5 hours. And I have a little bit of extra blush on because I just did a Zoom event with Ciate for their Miss Piggy collection and I tested out one of the blushes on my cheeks. After 8.5 hours wear, I still think my face looks pretty good. It still looks pretty flawless. It's definitely got more oily, like you can see the oil on my forehead, the oil on my cheeks. When I was patting in the blush, I did kind of like pat my cheeks a bit and then I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that because it took off some of the oil. But it pretty much looks exactly the same as it did a couple of hours ago when I did a check-in, because it's only been like 2 hours since then. As suspected, this giant volcano has come out throughout the day. But overall, I would say the only areas where it's starting to look dodgy is just these bits around my nose. Down my nose looks totally fine and it hasn't got as oily as other foundations that I use on the regular. Sometimes I find that at the end of the day, my nose is literally like swimming in oil and you can see the foundation sort of like swirling around in it. It's so gross. It actually looks pretty decent on my nose and on my forehead as well. It's definitely one of the better foundations that I've tried for oil control. But yeah, my smile lines, my nose and a little bit on my chin are looking a little bit sort of like, eh. Like I would want to touch this up now and I would have wanted to touch it up 2 hours ago, but I thought I'd just leave it to see what it looks like at the end of the day. Let's do a little close up. So yeah, to be honest, there hasn't really been that much change since 2 hours ago. It's just exactly the same, but just a little bit more oily. and it's mostly the areas around my nose, which I'm 95% sure is the concealer because they look like a different texture, and I put quite a bit of the concealer around here. But my blemishes have stayed pretty covered, which I'm impressed with. My under eyes and everything are still looking quite smooth. Also, just to note, this mascara hasn't smudged. I really like this Morphe mascara as well. I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's probably not the best foundation that I've ever tried in terms of oil control, but it's definitely one of the better ones. Like, I would definitely wear this again. Some people might look at this and be like, so what are you talking about? Like, you look like really oily. But if you've watched a fair few of these foundation check-ins, you will see like there has been some foundations that have ended up being hot messes at the end of the day. So would I recommend this? Yes, it is more pricey for £28. However, I think for a high-end foundation, this this definitely makes it into my top 5 favourite high-end foundations that I've tried. I do actually really like it, and I will definitely continue using it. I will continue to test it more, and if I do really like it, you'll probably see it in a favourites. I don't think it beats the Radiant Longwear one. This is still my favourite, only because I feel like this one blended ever so slightly better. Radiant Longwear doesn't do this weird separate-y thing around my nose, but like I said, I think that was the concealer. I'm just repeating myself. I'm gonna answer a question of the day. If you guys have got any more questions for me, please leave them down below with the hashtag question of the day as always. Let's see, we got a question of the day. Today's question comes from Jessica R, and she said, what YouTubers are you enjoying watching at the moment? Beauty and other. Love this look, so thank you. So my favourite YouTubers at the moment, Molly May is one of my favourite YouTubers. Love watching her vlogs. Robert Welsh, as always. Ellie Darby. I've only recently discovered Ellie Darby's vlogs. I didn't really used to watch her, but now I really find her vlogs really comforting, and I really like her vlogs. James and Karis, love their channel as well. I definitely watch a lot more vlogs these days. Also, a lot of the time I end up watching Jackmate's podcast on YouTube. Jackmate's Happy Hour podcast. I really like that as well and find it really interesting. So yeah, those are some things that I've been watching at the moment. Right, I'm gonna end this here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below if you have this foundation or just your thoughts in general, because I'd love to know if anyone else has tried it and really likes it or doesn't like it or whatever. I just always love knowing your thoughts, so leave me a comment down below. Even if it's not about the foundation, please feel free to leave me a comment because I love reading them. And I try and reply to as many people as I can, but yeah. I hope you guys are all doing good. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're okay, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!